In this video, we're going to be talking about a two-sample t-test. And in particular, we're going to be using this data set that contains 1,000 different mothers, actually in North Carolina, with several different attributes. So the mother's age, the number of weeks that she carried the baby, whether the baby was full term, the amount of weight that the baby, or how much the baby weighed, and in particular, the smoking habit of the mother. So what I'm going to do is I'm interested in the birth weights of the babies and the smoking habit. So I'm going to take those two columns, copy them. I'm going to put them into a new tab in Excel so I've got them just sitting here by themselves. And then I'm going to do some sorting. So I highlighted the entire collection of data. Scroll up to the top there. I'm going to filter. Notice how it gives these little down arrows, and then I'm just going to filter by, or sort by the smoking habit. Now, this is interesting. We actually have one particular mother who didn't give a smoking habit, so we cannot use that data point. I'm going to delete that row. But the rest of them, I've got non-smokers all grouped together, and I've got smokers all grouped together. And for simplicity, I'm going to scroll way down here until I find the first smoker. Way down here. There's a lot of non-smokers. This is good. There we go. So I'm going to take all of the smokers. I'm going to cut those out and put them up here. So now let's just do some relabeling. Oops. So let's cut that. I want to put it one down below. There we go. So this is the baby's weight from smoking mothers. This is going to be the baby's weight from non-smoking mothers. And now I've got several other columns that I don't need, so let's just kill those off. Okay, so now I finally have my data wrangled into such a form that I can actually look at it, and I'm looking at just the data that I want. I have the weight of non-smoking, the weight of the babies from non-smoking mothers. There are 874 of those. And the weight from the smoking mothers, there are only 127 of those. So now I'm going to go to data analysis, and what I want to do is just simply compare. Are the weights different from each other? Well, these are two different samples from two potentially different populations. We've got smoking mothers and non-smoking mothers. So it's a two-sample test, not a paired test. And I don't know that the variance in this category and the variance in that category are different from each other. So let's do it. So I'm going to take out whatever was in there before. Okay, so variable 1 range. Right, so that would be my non-smoking mothers. So I'm going to highlight, including the label, all the way down. And there's lots of them here. There's 800 some of them. So we highlight all the way to the bottom of that list. Okay, and then variable 2 range is way up here. Let's get the smoking mothers, so I'm going to get just them. There's only 120 some of them. And there they are. Okay. Now the next step, hypothesized mean difference. Well, I'm going to be pessimistic about this and say, well, the non-smoking baby, or the babies from non-smoking mothers and the babies from smoking mothers, let's just presume that they have the same weight. In other words, a mean difference of 0. Otherwise, I'm presuming that there is some sort of impact. Let's just presume that there is no impact. And now my output range, I can put that anywhere, it doesn't really matter. I'm going to press OK and see what we get. Now, out of the data analysis Toolpack, we got several different pieces of information. We have our standard information. This is descriptive statistics about the data sets. So I've got it for the non-smoking mothers, I have an average weight of 7.14 and a variance of 2.3. So if I square root this, I get my standard deviation. For the smoking mothers, I have an average of 6.8 and a standard deviation of 1.9. Now, there's other things that come out of this. Here's our hypothesized difference. We assume that the difference is 0. Obviously, we didn't find a difference of 0, but this is just from samples. We're talking about the whole population. Our sample's clearly not going to have a difference of 0 unless we're really incredibly lucky. What we're assuming about the whole population and what we find are two different things. Now, we were just trying to see if there was a difference between the two. So we're going to look at the two-tailed test. This is the p-value we're most interested in. And that p-value is less than 5%. So our conclusion is that it appears that we do have evidence that the weights are different from each other. In other words, if the difference in weights is 0, then the probability of us finding our samples is about 1.9%. So this is the probability of finding our samples if the mean difference is 0. Well, that probability is so absurdly small that we're going to conclude that the difference is actually not 0, that there is some difference between these two. All right, I hope this has helped you walk through a two-sample t-test.